Grab your cup. You know the saying, when one door closes, another door opens, right? We tell ourselves that when something ends, don't worry about it because something good and even better is gonna come. If we lose a job unexpectedly or something, don't worry, something good is gonna come. So most people are familiar with that. I wanted to just talk about today the suggestion of actually thinking of the opposite as well. That in order for good things to come, we have to allow something to go. We have to go through the death of some things in order to have a rebirth, which sounds a bit more dramatic, I know, but it could be the death or an ending of an identity that you have about yourself. It could be the death or an ending of a relationship, but think of it in the flip way. In order to have something good, I've got to let this thing go, because it's easier to train your brain around the first one, right? We have things that are difficult and then we go, oh, don't worry, something better is going to come. But it's not as easy, I don't think anyway, it's not as easy to start to see like, oh, if I want to have growth, I've got to let this thing go. Yesterday, if you saw the coffee conversation, I talked about change and how change is inevitable. Our earth, our world, our bodies, life itself is designed for change. Change is supposed to happen, but when people get really connected to certain things or really cannot release their grip on certain things, they resist the change. And then there's a lot of friction there. There's a lot of upset in their body and their nervous system because change becomes very scary, right? That was yesterday. So this really is kind of piggybacking onto that conversation. And it's because of a conversation I had yesterday in the afternoon with someone. And we were talking about how when they are with their friends that they've had from the past, it just doesn't feel the same. It's almost like you're like, oh, that's good. I need to go do something else. I have some better things to do, because there has been growth. When there has been growth, sometimes the people in your life no longer fit. There will be people in your life who no longer fit because they haven't grown. So I've talked before about grief and growth being two sides of the same coin. Grief and growth. When we grieve something, we give ourselves the opportunity to grow. When we grow, we need to grieve what we're leaving behind. So that's really this conversation again, which is, in order to grow, you just want to be prepared for letting something go. The death of something is going to happen. For new seeds to grow, the old plants typically die, right? They drop their seeds and at some point they die, and the new seeds can grow and get bigger, and then they will drop seeds and they'll die. So what is it that you need to allow to die? And then remember the grief part. We don't just let it die. We also want to grieve that death and that loss. So if it's your identity, if it's you were part of a relationship and now that relationship ended, perhaps who you were in that relationship is growing. You're going to grow from that, but you want to grieve for the loss of that relationship. It meant something to you on some level, or you wouldn't have been in it, right? So grieve the ending of that, because when you don't grieve the ending of that, that also contributes to why we stay stuck. So we want to grow, but we're holding on over here with one hand, or sometimes with both hands, what we don't want to let go of, but it's already gone, or it's already on its way out. So loosening up your hands, opening up your hands, letting it go so that you can have an open hand to receive what's coming, and make sure you do the grief part. You don't have to stay in grief forever, but if you don't grieve either the person, the situation, yourself that you're letting go, there'll be a part that still stays resistant. Grief isn't scary. Grief is just acknowledging what was important, acknowledging how much it meant, feeling that, allowing that feeling to move through, right? Like any other emotion. And then you're clear to move on. It's got to move through so that you can move on. Let's end with that today. Have a good day. Look at where do you want to grow? What have you been holding on to, or what have you not acknowledged within yourself with some grief so that you can change the energy about it. Okay? Have a good day.